All right, let's go on an epic journey. We're talking hundreds of millions of years of evolution, all to uncover the incredible story of the animal kingdom. I mean, how did we get from a simple single cell to the mind-bending diversity of life we see today? Well, let's find out. Just think about it for a second. From a majestic tiger to a weird, almost alien-looking sea squirt, the variety of animal life on our planet is just staggering. It's like this gigantic, interconnected family tree with countless branches, and every single one tells its own amazing story of survival and change. So what's the secret? What's behind all this incredible diversity?
That is the big question, right? And that's exactly what we're going to explore. We're going to trace the evolutionary path, step by step, and pinpoint the real game-changing moments, the key innovations in body design that took a simple collection of cells and turned it into the complex animals that walk, swim, and fly all around us.
Okay, so our journey starts with the very first, and you could argue the most important revolution in animal design. This is the moment when individual cells finally learned to cooperate, to work together and form a unified team that we call tissues. This, right here, was the birth of the true animal. And you can see that difference so clearly right here. On the left, you've got the sponge. It's really more like a colony of cells just kind of living together. But on the right, the jellyfish has taken this massive leap forward. Its cells are organized into actual tissues, creating things like nerves and muscles. This was huge because it allowed animals to move and react in a coordinated way for the very first time. So yeah, think of a sponge as the most basic animal blueprint you can imagine. It doesn't have a brain, no nerves, not even a real definite shape. It pretty much just sits there pulling water through its body to filter out tiny bits of food. Each cell is almost working for itself. But now, look at the jellyfish. Wow, this is a major upgrade. With tissues, they suddenly have a defined symmetrical shape, a whole network of nerves to coordinate their movements, and they even developed these tiny harpoon-like stinging cells called nematocysts to actually go out and catch prey. This was absolutely revolutionary, an animal that could actively hunt and respond to its world as a single being. Once you have tissues, you can start getting really creative. And that led to this brilliant strategy called polymorphism. It's basically like having different specialists for different jobs within the same species. Instead of one body trying to do everything, you evolve different body forms, and each one is perfectly designed for a specific task. And here's a perfect example of how it works. You've got the polyp stage, which anchors itself in one spot. Its whole job is to grab food and make clones of itself. Then it releases the medusa, that's the classic jellyfish shape we all know, which swims off to find a mate and start brand new colonies. It is an incredibly efficient way to live, having these two totally different bodies working together in one life cycle. Okay, so now animals have tissues, and they can move. But there's a problem. They're mostly just drifting around. To really take control, to hunt, and to explore, they needed a sense of direction. And that meant taking the next great evolutionary leap, developing a head. This is where something called bilateral symmetry comes in. Now, it sounds simple, but this was a world-changing idea, a body with matching left and right sides, a clear top and bottom, and, this is the crucial part, a front and a back. This design is so successful that it's used by pretty much every animal that moves with purpose, all the way from insects to us. And of course, having a front end naturally leads to developing a head. It just makes sense, right? All your important sensory gear, your eyes, your antennae, your chemical sensors, it all gets concentrated right at the front. For the first time ever, an animal could see where it was going and what it was about to eat. This changed everything. It was the birth of the active hunter. So, who were the pioneers of this new head-first lifestyle? Well, meet the humble flatworm. They might not look like much, but they were the very first to adopt this groundbreaking body plan, and it allowed them to navigate their world with a whole new sense of purpose. Now let's look at a really extreme example of specialization, the tapeworm. This creature is an absolute master of the parasitic lifestyle. It is so well adapted that it has completely gotten rid of its mouth and digestive system. It just soaks up nutrients right through its skin. It's evolved to be basically nothing more than a living anchor with a super efficient reproductive system. And this super complex life cycle, where it often has to move between multiple different hosts, is only possible because of these incredible adaptations. It's such a powerful example of how evolution can refine a body plan by just stripping away everything that isn't absolutely essential for one very, very specialized way of life. So we've got tissues, we've got a head. What's next?
Well, to build a truly complex animal with all the internal organs we're familiar with, you need something that might not seem obvious at first. You need empty space inside the body. This brings us to our next major breakthrough, the internal body cavity. I know, it might not sound as exciting as getting ahead, but this internal space, called a column, is honestly one of the most revolutionary innovations in the entire history of animal life. So, why is a simple cavity so important?
Well, think of it like an internal workshop inside your body. The cocelum is this fluid-filled space that cushions all your organs, protecting them from getting bumped around. But even more than that, it gives organs like your heart, your lungs, and your stomach the freedom to move and function on their own without getting in each other's way. Without it, complex internal systems would be totally impossible. This chart here really lays out the whole story perfectly. You start with the solid-bodied flatworms, who are acolomate, no cavity at all. Then you get the roundworms, who develop what's called a pseudocoulomb, which is sort of like a prototype cavity. But the real game changer was the true coulomb, first seen in segmented worms like earthworms. This fully featured internal space was the final piece of the puzzle, and it paved the way for all the complex animals that came after. So, with all the essential blueprints now in place, tissues, a head, and a body cavity, the stage was set for an absolute evolutionary explosion. Animal life just began to diversify at an incredible rate, leading to the amazing array of creatures we see all around us today. I mean, just look at the arthropods. That's your insects, spiders, and crustaceans. They are, by far, the most successful animal group on the planet. And their secret weapon is the exoskeleton. It's like a custom-fitted suit of armor that provides both protection and a framework for their muscles. This, plus their jointed legs, was the key that let them conquer literally every environment on Earth. Then you've got the mollusks, who came up with a totally different solution for protection: the shell. From the elegant spiral shell of a snail to the two tough halves of a clam, this simple but brilliant invention allowed them to thrive. And this body plan is so versatile that it also gave rise to the octopus, a highly intelligent creature that actually evolved to lose its shell altogether. Wow, we've traveled hundreds of millions of years in just a few minutes. So let's just take a moment to look back at the incredible evolutionary path we've followed and see how all these pieces fit together to build the world we know. You can see it all laid out here. It all starts with that first huge split, from simple cellular sponges to animals with true tissues. From there, the path divides again between the radially symmetric animals like jellyfish and the bilaterally symmetric animals, the ones with a head. And it's on that path that the final key innovation, the true coulomb, appears, unlocking the potential for the incredible diversity we see in annelids, mollusks, arthropods, and even our own branch of the tree. Each of these forks in the road represents a revolutionary idea. And so our evolutionary journey comes to an end. It's a story of one breakthrough building upon another, layer by layer. But it does raise a pretty fascinating question. If you had to choose just one, which of these evolutionary leaps do you think was the true game changer? Was it the teamwork of tissues, the sense of direction from getting ahead, or that internal workshop of the body cavity? What do you think was the single most important step on the path to animal complexity?